Hey everyone, just going to run you through today fitting a set of bar risers to Norden 901. So I've gone for the Vanasche Motorsports bar risers. These are 1-inch rise, really nice, beautiful machining. Come with the factory style bolts to attach them, really nice bit of kit. It's a really straightforward job. Literally all you're going to need is a ratchet, your T45 bit and a 10mm socket, and that's going to be enough to install your bar risers. So I've gone for the Vanasche Motorsports parts because I've already fit the foot pegs, which are amazing quality, really nice, really happy with them, and I've fit the brake pedal as well, and the quality of the stuff is mega. Really nice machine and really nice design. Very simple. This allows you to keep adjustability as well. You've still got your 2 positions, so you lose one of your positions because you pick up on one, but yeah, you've still got a lot of adjustability once you fit them. So yeah, that's why I've gone for Vanasche. Really nice stuff. They do nice orange bits as well for the if you've got the KTM, or if you want to add a splash of colour to your Norden. But I like these in the plain black. Look very smart. So first thing you want to do is make sure the bike's nice and stable. Doing this on the side stand or centre stand is perfectly fine. I'm doing mine on the con stand, and I've got the bike lowered so the front wheel is on the floor. So you don't want the handlebars or the forks dropping from side to side while you're doing this, because it's going to get a little bit frustrating. So you want a bit of weight on the front wheel. So first thing you're going to need is your 10mm socket and ratchet. These 10mm. You want to loosen these off. Just be careful when you're doing these, because your bars are going to obviously come loose once you get to this point. Also, I'll point out, on the standard bars you've got angle adjustment on these, so you can rotate them forwards and aft. So where you take your measurement across this line, where the 2 clamp halves meet, you've got 0 degrees, -1, -2, +1, +2. If you want your bars to be in a similar position, just take note of that. Now, I think from factory they're going to be probably at 0, mine were at 0, so that's where I'll set them initially, once I put them back together, and then afterwards you can always play with that. If you want a little bit more room, or you feel the bars need to come a little bit closer to you, you can adjust that after you've installed them anyway. So once you take the clamps off, obviously your bars are going to move around, so you want to keep hold of them while you're doing this. Once you take these off, I'm just going to prop the bars in front, out of the way. You don't need to completely disconnect anything, or just going to move them forwards, just like this, out of the way there, like so. Now you've got access to these 2, so these are going to be a lot tighter. So this is where you'll need your T45 socket, or basically any T45 drive on these. So these are the tight ones. So you're probably going to want to move your bars to the lock position, like this. So you're tightening against the bike, or loosening against the bike, so to speak. So there you go, that's 1 clamp off. That's the 2nd clamp off. Right, so with them undone, you can remove these. These are going to bolt back on top of the Vanasche bar riser. So Vanasche supply the bar riser kit, comes with the bolts that you need. These are factory bolts, exactly the same as what your standard KTM or Husqvarna parts are installed with. So from factory, these are going to be installed in the centre. So with the Vanasche kit, you can install it this way or this way. So normally, without the bar risers, you'll be able to have your adjustment in 3 positions: centre, forward or aft, so you can move the bars closer or further away from you. Once you install the bar risers, you lose one of them positions, because the bolt that holds the riser to the top clamp on the forks takes up one of those positions. So You have two options. This will fit either way. You can fit it forwards, or with the bolts forward like this. In this position, you're going to be able to keep your bars in the centre, which is where they are standard from factory, and you're going to be able to move them closer towards you. So if you've got shorter arms or you're a shorter rider, you may want to experiment with bringing the bars closer to you. If you're a taller rider and you feel like you need more room, you can just turn this around, bolt it on the other way, and you can move the bars further away to give it a little bit more reach. So that's entirely up to you which way you which way you bolt them on. It doesn't make much difference if you're gonna. Well, it doesn't make any difference if you're gonna run them in the centre, which is the position that I'm gonna run them in. So I'm gonna bolt them on this direction. So if you can, when you're doing up bolts, always just I always start them by hand, just so you know that the thread's not going to cross thread. So once these are in, these have Loctite on already, so you can literally install them, wind them straight in. There's probably a torque in the manual for these. I haven't looked what it is. If you've been working on bikes for a long time, you probably won't be watching this video for instructions on how to fit these, but if you haven't been working on bikes much, or you haven't got a good feel for how tight things need to be, have a quick look in that user's manual. You can download it from the Husqvarna website, just to check. I mean, I've been building and working on bikes since I was a kid, so I kind of know by feel how tight they need to be. So I've saved myself some time and not bothered having a look. But it's entirely up to you. Don't take my word for it. If it makes you happy and you're not confident, it's worth checking. So what I'm going to do now, the opposite to when we remove these, I'm going to turn the bars to the opposite lock, to the right hand lock, so when you're tightening against the lock stop, so these aren't going to be moving about, so you just need to lift your bars up a little bit, turn these across, like so. Now I'm lock stop there. So tighten these up bit by bit, just to keep it nice and even. They don't need to be superhuman strength. They're only a Torx head. I don't like to do these up majorly tight. Just a nice nip. They've got Loctite on, so they're not going to come loose. So once you've installed the bar riser, you can then install your standard clamps back on. So I'm going to go for the central position as they were when we took them off. And everything on this just fits lovely. I mean, this sits down perfectly on the machine. Clamps on the top of the forks, and these sit lovely on here. So now I'm going to wind these in. So again, these will be tight, the same as the bolts that you've done up for the risers. Just a nice nip. These are the factory bolts, so they still have some Loctite on them, so just have a look at them. If you feel like they need more, they only need a little bit, you can always put some medium strength Loctite on them both. I had a look at these before I put them back in, and they've still got the factory thread lock on them, so we're going to just put them back in as they are. Right, so now you're at this position, bring the bars straight again. Give these a quick wipe out. Bars a quick wipe down. So you're going to lift your bars back into position. So with the bar rise, there's room in all the factory cables. You know, everything's still got room with the riser on. It's not going to affect cables getting pulled. So you just want to get them central as possible. You can set up your angle now as well. So I'm going to set them up at 0 degrees as they came off. So with the bar clamps, you've got a little dot on the casting at the top, or on the machine face on the top. That dot's going to face the rider, so it's going to be on the aft side. These bolts didn't have Loctite on when they came out from the factory. Whether that's something that was missed, or whether that's something they did on purpose, I don't know. but I've just put a little dab of medium strength Loctite on these just for my own peace of mind. They're not going to rattle loose when you're going down bumpy trails. You don't need to go mad whenever you use Loctite, just needs a little dab. You see these videos on Facebook or TikTok or whatever where they're, I don't know what they are, they're addicting to watch. They make you so angry you have to watch the whole thing through. I don't know why I sit there for ages watching these stupid videos, but one of them that you see regularly is where they have like a thread drilled into some perspex and they're showing how you should use Loctite. But it's completely wrong. They're like filling the whole hole up so the thread is covered. You don't want that. You literally just need a dab on it. So yeah, don't believe everything you watch on the internet. So when you do these up, you just want to make sure the gap between these two on the forward and aft bolt is the same, so clamping down nice and even. Back to your 10mm socket for these. I'd always prefer to use the 10mm than the Torx driver inside them, just because the 10mm socket is going to be much more surface contact. It's going to, you're less chance of rounding any bolts off if you're using, a hex bit or a normal socket on them rather than these Torx bits. I don't like Torx bits at all. That's one thing I probably don't like so much about the KTM Husqvarna brand since I got the bike, is everything is Torx. They are good quality, these. Like, I've not had any round off yet, but I just much prefer a normal hex socket or even an Allen key. Not a fan of Torx, but what they've got, sure they'll be fine. So I just tighten these down, bit of a crisscross. Keep an eye on your bars, make sure they haven't rolled backwards or forwards. These are still on, bang on the 0 degrees. Again, these have probably got a torque in the manual. I don't know what it is. Like before. If you want to torque them, feel free. Certain things I do, certain things I don't. Wheels, yeah, I always torque them. But if I'm doing engine work, 100% always torque stuff. But I'll just go by feel on these. If I can be bothered, I might list the torque specs below for you. You'll have to scroll down and have a look, see if I could be bothered to trawl through the manual for that. So you see, I'm just doing these little increments, just getting a good feel where they're at. And there you go, all done. 1-inch bar riser on. The reason I'm fitting the bar risers is just to experiment. I feel I do probably 80% off-road riding, roughly that, 80% to 20 road. I spend most of that time standing, and so far I found by midday, if I've been riding since, I don't know, 7-8 o'clock in the morning, gets to lunchtime, my upper back is aching quite a lot from leaning forwards, whether that's down to the way I'm riding or being tense, because I'm probably riding quite tense at the moment because I'm still learning, still getting used to a bike moving around. It could be that, but I just thought I'll give the bar risers a try, lift the bars up a little bit so I can sort of open my back up, stand more upright when I'm riding. So hopefully they're going to help with that. So I've got the Vanasche foot pegs, which have dropped the pegs by 1 inch as well. So overall, from factory, I'm now 2 inches of extra room, which is really nice. I'm not particularly tall. I'm only 5'8", so for a taller rider, I'd imagine like this is just a must-do. I've not got a great back anyway. I do have a few issues with it, so you might be absolutely fine. But nice bling bit kit. These, I'll do some close-ups, maybe add some pictures in. The finish on these Vanasche parts is literally exactly the same as the finish on the clamp, so it looks factory, looks really nice. Like I said, the quality's as good as you get. Don't be tempted to buy the cheap Chinese knockoffs of these, because all they're doing in China, like these, like UK, US quality companies that are spending time and money, research and development to make these parts. So, they look expensive, but that's because the time and the money and the research has gone into making these parts the highest quality for the customer. And the materials are high quality, the machining's high quality, and then there's a real problem with Chinese companies just mass producing. They'll, whether they just find the files or they just buy one and then take it to some factory in China and they just mass produce them in sub-quality materials. Obviously the labour's way cheaper, they're making way more of them, so the more you make, obviously the cheaper it's going to be. And it's so tempting for people to go and buy from them. I can see why, especially if you're on a budget. But if you're buying a Husqvarna or 890, you're spending £12,000–13,000 on a motorbike. Like, I can't see the why you would go and put cheap Chinese knockoff parts on the bike that you've spent so much money on. It's your pride and joy. These are tried, tested, quality design, and if you're not going to support and use companies, like Rottweiler Performance, Vanasche, Camel, like all these companies that are developing and making these parts for your bikes, if you're not going to support them, if you don't buy their parts, if you're just going to keep buying all the Chinese knockoffs of everything, these companies won't exist in 5–10 years time, because they just won't be able to continue putting the money and the time and the research into making these quality products. And if those companies don't exist, you won't have anything, because China aren't going to carry on making the parts for your bikes, because they haven't got somebody making, doing all the design, research and development. They're just copying someone else's product. So if that product isn't there for them to copy, there'll be no product. So just a little, graph. I see it on the internet all the time. People are like, oh look, I got these from AliExpress, they're exactly the same, and they're a third of the price or a quarter of the price. Like, I just wanted to say, like, that's what's happening. That's the reality of things. I like to try and support other brands, like Vanasche, showing the quality of the stuff they're making. And if you guys sort of see this and think, oh, that's why they're so cheap, like, and you go and buy the legit stuff, it's more expensive, but the quality's there, the research development. They're going to continue, these companies, making cool ass parts for your bike. So that's just my 2 pence. It's entirely down to you where you spend your money, but like I say, I prefer to try and support quality companies developing these parts for your bike. So there's the install for the bar risers. I'm also going to do a video for the case saver. So I've also got the case saver from Vanasche, which is a beautiful bar. It looks really, really cool. I'm now going to install that after this, make another video. I'll discuss more about that afterwards. But if you found my videos helpful and you like my videos, give them a like, leave a comment down below if you want to see other things, and subscribe to the channel, it'd be really appreciated. Head over to my Instagram as well. I'm probably more active on Instagram than I am on YouTube. I'm only sort of starting to make these YouTube videos, which I'm really enjoying. I really appreciate all the comments and likes and stuff that I get. Makes it all worthwhile. So head over to my Instagram, Norden Gym, and you can see how I'm getting on with the Norden and the switch from road riding to off road. So sweet. See you soon.